Hi, I'm Robi, also known as ambroscrochet somewhere on the internet, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this snowman hanging ornament. So before we get into the tutorial, I want to apologize because the tutorial is a little bit messy. It was hubris on my part because I thought this was an easy enough project that I could just make it on the fly, so not make it before, have a pattern ready and then tell you the pattern, but like make it and tell you the pattern as I went, which wasn't the best idea. So I messed up, I think just one time, but please make sure that you pay close attention to the written instructions because even if I say something that is incorrect, I will write it correctly. So please make sure that you pay attention to the written instructions for this one. Again, I think I only messed up once, but still, you know, sorry in advance. So here's what we will need. Some yarn in a few colors. I went with some cotton to make the snowman itself, so I went with black, orange and white, and I used a 2.25mm crochet hook with that. And then I used some red acrylic yarn to make the scarf and the detail on the hat. But the good thing about this pattern is that you can really use any kind of yarn and any kind of crochet hook that obviously matches your yarn. And I used a 3mm crochet hook with the acrylic yarn. And then we are going to need some toy stuffing, 10mm safety eyes, some pins, a tapestry needle or needle and thread, and then some scissors. Here are the stitches we will be working with: chain, single crochet, increase, single crochet, decrease, half double crochet, and obviously a magic ring. Okay, so I literally wanted to make like the easiest, simplest amigurumi possible. I don't really have a pattern for this, I'm just going to wing it, which hopefully you won't be able to tell, but maybe you will. So we're going to start with a magic ring, and then we're going to be making 6 single crochets into the magic ring. And once that is done, we move on to round 2, which is going to be 1 increase in each single crochet for a total of 6 increases. So at the end, we're going to have 12 single crochets. And once round 2 is done, we move on to round 3, which is going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 18 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once round 3 is done, we can move on to round 4, which is going to be 2 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 24 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so once round 4 is done, we can move on to round 5, which is going to be 3 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 30 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 5 is done and you can actually kind of see what I'm doing, we are going to move on to round 6, which is going to be 4 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 36 single crochets, and wait for it, I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once round 6 is done, we can move on to round 7, which is going to be 5 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated I forgot what I had to say, repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 42 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once round 7 is done, we can move on to round 8, which is going to be 6 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 48 single crochets, and wait, I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once round 8 is done, we can move on to round 9, which is going to be 7 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we are going to have 54 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 9 is done, we can move on to round 10, which is going to be 8 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 60 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once round 10 is done, we can move on to round 11, which is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of round 11 we will still have 60 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and with round 11 done, we can move on to round 12, which is going to be 9 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 66 single crochets, and there is no way that I can get to the 11th stitch just by saying that, so I'm just buying time. Does it show? Where should I increase? Here. Okay, so I'll see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 13 is done, we can move on to rounds 14 to 21. So the next 8 rounds are just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of rounds 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21, we will still have 66 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so once round 21 is done, you want to place the safety eyes. So the safety eyes should go in between rounds 18 and 19, or between rounds 18 and 19, and they should be approximately 8 stitches apart. So that being done, we move on to rounds 22 to 25. So again, the next 4 rounds are just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So again, at the end of rounds 22, 23, 24 and 25, we will still have 66 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 25 is done, we can move on to round 26, which is going to be 9 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 60 single crochets, and I've just given up on saying it as a crochet, so I'll see you when I have those done. Now that we're done with round 25, we're going to move on to round 26, which is just going to be 8 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 54 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 26 is done, we can move on to round 27, which is going to be 7 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 48 single crochets. Maybe I can get it done. Yes. 1 decrease. No. Okay, 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 48 single crochets, and I'll see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 27 is done, we can move on to round 28, which is going to be 6 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 42 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, now that round 28 is done, we can move on to round 29, which is going to be 5 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 36 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and now that round 29 is done, we can move on to round 30, which is going to be 4 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 30 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that we're done with round 30, before we move on to round 31, you might want to start stuffing the snowman, and then we move on to round 31, which is going to be 3 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 24 single crochets. I definitely stuffed it too much, so now it's difficult to stitch. I'm going to take out some of the stuffing, and I will see you when I have this round done. Okay, so round 31 is done, so now we can move on to round 32, which is going to be 2 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 18 single crochets, and if you want to keep stuffing as you go, that should be good. I don't think I'll stuff it too much because I actually like the look of it not being too stuffed, you know, if that makes sense. And with amigurumis and cotton in general, I prefer that look, so that's what I'm going to do, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so once round 32 is done, we move on to round 33. I'm not going to show you because it's getting a little bit difficult, but it's just going to be 1 single crochet, 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we're going to have 12 single crochets, and I'll see you when I have those done. Okay, so now that round 33 is done, we move on to round 34, which is going to be the last round. Again, I'm not going to show you because it's getting really difficult, but it's just going to be 6 decreases. So at the end, we're going to have 6 single crochets, and I'll see you when I have those done. Okay, so once that last round is done, we are just going to slip stitch. And then we are going to cut, leaving just a little bit of a tail so that we can adjust that last round. Okay, and here is the first step done, and I have to say it looks really cute even like this. So maybe if you wanted to make like a little snowball instead of a snowman, I think this would look pretty cute. But let's move on to the nose. Okay, so to make the nose, I'm going to take my orange yarn, and we are going to start with a chain of 7. And then starting from the second chain from the hook, we are going to be making 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 chains. And then we are going to make 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 chains. And lastly, we are going to make 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 chains. Okay, and we are done. That was quite quick. So we are going to cut the yarn and leave just a little bit of a tail so that we can sew the nose to the head. Okay, and next, kind of optional, we're going to make a little hat. Okay, so we are going to get our black yarn to make the hat if you want to make it. So we are going to start with a magic ring. And as usual, we are going to make 6 single crochets into the magic ring. And then we move on to round 2, which is going to be 1 increase in each stitch, so a total of 6 increases. So at the end of round 2, we're going to have 12 single crochets. Okay, and after round 2 is done, we move on to round 3, which is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 18 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once we're done with round 3, we move on to round 4, which is going to be 2 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 24 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once we're done with round 4, we move on to round 5, which is going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch, but it's going to be worked in back loops only. Okay, so 1 single crochet in each stitch, but in back loops only. So at the end, we'll still have 24 single crochets, but in back loops only. So I'll see you when I have those done. Okay, and once we're done with round 5, we move on to rounds 6 to 12. So the next 7 rounds are just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of rounds 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, we will still have 12 single crochets, or sorry, 24 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, so once we're done with round 12, we can move on to round 13, which is going to be 3 single crochets and then 1 increase, but we are going to be working in front loops only. So we worked in back loops only before, now we are going to work in front loops only. So it's going to be 3 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 6 times. So at the end, we're going to have 30 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once we are done with round 13, we can move on to round 14, which is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of round 14, we will still have 30 single crochets, and I will see you when I have those done. Okay, and once that is done, we are just going to slip stitch and then cut the yarn, leaving a tail to sew the hat. I think it's a top hat, right? I ask as if the candle could give me the answer. Okay, so the hat is done, and you can use the back loops that we made here to flatten the top, and the front loops that we made here to kind of push the whatever this is called. I should really check like words before I film videos, but I don't know what I'm going to say, so I can't do it. But you can kind of push this upwards. You know what I'm saying. I know you know what I'm saying. Okay, so this is the top hat done. So next we just have to assemble. Wait, actually, I lied. Sorry about that. It wasn't intentional. So my sister said I should add a scarf to the snowman. So we're literally going to do like the easiest thing ever, which is we're going to start with the magic ring. And then you want to chain 6. And then starting from the second chain from the hook, we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 5 chains. And then you want to chain 1, turn, and repeat. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 5 single crochets, and so on and so forth for 65 rows. So that should give you enough of a scarf for the snowman, but obviously, you know, you just keep going if you want to, or you can stop before that if you want to. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you how to add a little bit of a fringe, and that's going to be literally like the easiest scarf ever. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so I have my 65 rounds done, so we're going to do, or rows done, so we're going to do the very last row. So we're going to chain 1, turn, and then make 1 single crochet in each stitch for our 66th row, which I didn't include in the previous instructions because technically there isn't a chain 1 at the end, but you know. Okay, and then we are going to cut, leaving a very small tail, and then we are going to make the smallest fringe ever. So to make the fringe, you just want to take a little piece of yarn. It doesn't have to be very long. I drank 3 coffees today, that's why everything is so messy. So you cut just a little bit of yarn, and then you insert your crochet hook into the last single crochet that you've made. You fold your yarn so that it creates a little loop, and then you insert your crochet hook into that little hoop, pull through, not all the way, just a little bit, and then you yarn over. I'm going to yarn over that tail as well. So you yarn over and pull through all those strands of yarn through the loop, and then you just pull, make a little knot, and that's how you make a little fringe. Okay, and you repeat that for every single crochet on this side and every chain on this side. So I'll be back, and this time we'll assemble for real, promise. Okay, so I have my little scarf. Obviously, if you want to add more fringe, you can use more strands of yarn, you can use longer strands of yarn. I just got them so that they would be all the same, and now we actually assemble. We'll get there, I promise. I promise we will. Okay, so because there are many steps to the assembling part, I'm just going to tell you at the same time how to do it. So for the nose, I placed it on round 18, and as you can see, it's angled a little bit, also because if I had placed it straight, the eye would kind of be in the middle. So it's a little bit angled, and it's 2 stitches from the eye on the left, and it falls 1.5 rounds underneath the eye on the right. So hopefully those are enough instructions to tell you where to place the nose. And as far as the hat goes, you can kind of place it wherever you like. I placed it on the side because I want this to be a hanging ornament, so I need the very top to be free. So I placed it on the side, but obviously, you know, you can place it wherever you'd like. And I'm going to sew these, and then I'm going to be back for the scarf. Okay, so here's a little snowman. So far I added a little detail around the hat, just a chain made with the same red acrylic yarn that I used for the scarf, because at this point might as well, this is the messiest tutorial ever made, so I might as well just keep adding stuff. So now we're going to place the scarf. So this might be a little bit difficult to show you, but I'm going to start from the front and I'm going to pin it immediately, otherwise I'm just not going to be able to carry it through. And then you just go around and something like this. Obviously you can adjust it, because in my case it's not centered, so I'm going to have to adjust it just a little bit. So pull it from this side. Okay, so something like that, you get the idea. I'm going to be back once that is done as well, so that we can finally get through this tutorial. Okay, and we are done. Incredibly, we made it. I'm sorry if this tutorial was a little bit all over the place. I don't have any excuses for it. So I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and if you end up making your own little snowman and maybe you hang him on a tree or something, please feel free to tag me and let me know, because I would love to see it. You can find me on my social media, which is probably somewhere on the screen right now. If you have any questions, you can leave me a comment down below, or you can find me again on my social media. And if you'd like to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, that's always very much appreciated. If you want to give me a follow on my social media, if you want to, I don't know, see what I am up to crocheting wise for the rest of the time, that would be also very much appreciated. And both on YouTube and Instagram, I should have like a few posts going up and videos going up because of December, so maybe gifts related or Christmas related. So if you want to check those out, hopefully I'm posting them, because I know I'm recording them and editing them, so I hope I also manage to post them, but you never know. So that being said, I think I should stop rambling. Thank you so much again for watching so far, and if you've subscribed, left a like, a comment, I appreciate it very much, and I will see you for the next one, which hopefully will be less messy than this one. Bye!